Hello and welcome back to What the Hell Are We Talking About? With your usual hosts, Kenny and Patrick. Hi, Patrick.
What's up?
So Patrick didn't set his alarm clock today, so he's a little bit on the grumpy side.
Yeah,
How was your week, Patrick?
it's great. First week of school.
Get the hell out.
Yep.
Go to where you belong.
That's right. Learn something and eventually pick up on the obvious, which is go on your own.
Right. And hopefully you don't come back.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about AI?
I think in principle, it's a good thing for some things, but in practice, it reminds me a lot of having to teach somebody something they should already know over and over again until they get it. I don't use it at all. But if it could work the way it sounds like it should work, then it could be useful. But I think as far as AI is concerned, I've spent more time disabling Copilot than I have using it.
Yeah. Copilot, not the smartest thing. Some of the other platforms are a little bit better, but Copilot, it's in that system of Microsoft that really sucks, like Teams and everything. So yeah, no, Copilot is very low on my list. I find AI to be helpful with certain things. Definitely helps us with our YouTube stuff, like for fun. I mean, some of the stuff that it puts together, I'm like, oh, okay, I can use that for the
Toenails?
thumbnails. There we go. Brain just went blank. I don't know why. Sorry, my old timers kicked in for a second. But yeah, the thumbnails. Works great for thumbnails. Works great for if you're promoting something. I just choose not to use a lot of real life stuff. Like I know you're not big on social media, but if you're scrolling on social media and you ever see an ad for something, but it doesn't like correlate with the video itself, it's AI, and I don't, it bothers me that they use like real looking people to try to sell absolute trash.
That makes a lot of sense because I've seen advertisements and I'll be watching something with my kids and my son will say, that's AI. And I don't know whether or not that's true until you say, yeah, some things that look very generic and aren't really specific to the subject, that could make sense. But AI has been around for a really long time if you think about it. It may not, I mean, it's evolved a lot, especially over recent years, but even I remember growing up and having to use Microsoft, and you'd have just like that paperclip pop up and say, hey, you're doing this. Do you need some help? And then it has a little box you can type stuff into, and it starts giving suggestions or pulling stuff off the web. That's same principle.
Right.
There's just no after the fact. Like if it says, "Hey, you're typing in a ransom note. You should use more forceful language." Like there's no part there that gives you suggest. It'll give you like where you can go to look stuff up, but it won't do it for you. As we're now, it's identifying what you're doing and then trying to create it for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Like this video is about dinosaurs and porn. Shall we put a robotic dildo in this? And then it'll do it instead of asking you. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's advanced way more than I think what they have guardrails for, in my opinion. Because now you got scammers using AI. They'll call you like randomly, like it ain't no more robot calls now, it's AI calls. So now the AI call you and the AI is talking to you and it almost sounds like a real person until you say something that throws it for a loop. Like it'll call and be like, yeah, so we're such and such, and we're trying to lower your insurance bills. And I'll say, well, I'm educated, yeah, 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 yeah. Well, I didn't hear what you said. Could you please repeat that again? Yeah, you AI. You're AI, you know.
Yeah.
But a lot of companies are now implementing it into the workplace to the point where it's almost like a mainstay, which is scary because now you got big companies using it. And, AI isn't perfect. Like you said, it's almost like having a toddler that's supposed to know everything, don't know nothing.
Yeah, but
So,
even going to like a restaurant, if a restaurant has a drive-through, I've noticed quite a few that have just what clearly sounds like a generic voice that will say specific things, ask you if you're interested, yes or no. If yes, then it pulls it in. If no, then tell me what you want, and then it repeats back to you what it thinks it heard. It's like I just remember taking my kids for breakfast and saying I want a biscuit sandwich with something on it, and it'll say, "It sounds like you said a back alley abortion." Yeah, that's exactly what I want.
do you want that with or without coat hanger?
Hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Make sure you remove that coat before you hand us the hanger.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point where, like, recently I seen an article. It was an AI model that just created like new viruses that never exist in nature. Have you heard about that?
I've heard of nature.
Well, according to a New York Times report, researchers trained a genomic AI model to design complete DNA sequences for viruses, then chemically built the results and watched some come to life. Of 285 AI generated viral genomes tested, 16 successfully assembled into functioning viruses capable of infecting bacteria and reproducing.
Why do we need that?
it,
And
it was it was just your face.
it's almost like are we trying to prepare for the future? I think I mean, why are we funding that and not funding teachers? You could teach kids to not get viruses too. Wash your ass. Don't use a needle unless it's medically necessary.
Right. I mean, they've been creating viruses in these places for research purposes for years. COVID. COVID was something that they was researching, and it just happened to get out of the thing.
And
So
I don't want to get on my COVID soapbox, but you have to look at COVID. COVID was supposed to do a lot to the human race. If you noticed, the benefit of COVID was it showed us that we could work from home, and a lot of people died. But at the same time, a lot of people didn't have to go into the office unless they were having to directly interface with people like your retail workers and stuff like that. But for people who are just sitting behind a desk, it showed us that we have the technology already in place and the ability to communicate without having to go into a building. So in that's the only positive that we had from COVID itself, was that it showed us what we were capable of as a society. But of course, since it was a a disease that was made in China, like any other Chinese manufactured thing, it broke down and didn't do what it was supposed to. So now guess what? We have to go back to the office and go back to being inside these buildings. So thanks a lot, China. You could have had it, but you fucked it up.
actually, we all was working on it. It just wasn't China. It just so happened to be in China that they was working on it. But we all was the whole connect was working together. Europe, the US, everybody was in that place working together on COVID.
Right, but if it's manufactured more cost effective, like anything that you own, if you buy a pair of golf clubs from the US or from China, the one in They might look identical, they might work the same at the beginning, but the one from China is going to break down at a more rapid rate because,
Well,
again, it's cheapest to market. Same thing. They generated disease and they released it, cheapest to market, and it broke down.
I mean, that's, and I hate to keep on shifting away from the conversation, but I mean, look at Amazon. Look at Amazon and everything that we buy. Remember back in the day when your parents would buy a washing machine and that washing machine would last until you was like 30, 40 years old, and then finally it would break down. Then some old dude with the cigarette hanging out the side of his mouth come in there and say, "Oh yeah, you need to change the belt." No, change the belt, and then the washing machine will continue to keep on working. You buy a washing machine now, you probably get about 3-4 years out of it. Why? Because it's made in China. Now think about it. Now, if you go over to China, China got a washing machine that you say, "Hey, wash the clothes, fold them, steam them, put them up for me." The damn washing machine, do it. But the shit that we get up over here, we barely wash your clothes.
Yeah. And the ones that are made with any kind of quality, either from here or another country that prides themselves in manufacturing, like Germany, are going to be 4 times the cost of one that's more cheaply made.
Right. You go out and go get a Speed Queen, you're going to basically buy you a brand new car.
Yeah.
Speed exactly. Queen is the best.
Or those Sub-Zero refrigerators that cost $5,000-$6,000
that they put in $1 million homes.
Yeah.
But me and you can't go out and go get a Sub-Zero refrigerator because we have to take out a loan like we going to college.
Mm-hmm. Basically.
Yeah.
But even then, like when growing up, yeah, we had one washer, one dryer, and it was with us our whole lives. We had more memories of that washer and dryer than we did of anything that was purchased for us. We have a memory for each Christmas, but that washer and dryer was always there. Same thing with like your furniture. It was an event to go get like a new couch or a dining room set or something like that.
Because you had it. It was sturdy.
Yeah,
it was probably made in High Point.
You didn't take care of it. Like as a kid, you didn't take care of it, but your parents took care of it. I mean, where I grew up, we had to leave the plastic on the furniture.
No, that's grandma's house.
It's like it's the only thing worse than leather. Like, you sit down on leather and you sweat or you fall asleep and you stick to it. You stick to plastic too. When my grandfather died, my grandmother took the plastic off the couch. They had this big like Cadillac of a couch. It was huge. It was before sectionals. It was just this big gold couch. And we took that plastic off, and it wasn't even that comfortable to sit on. Like the fabric it wasn't right, but it was also like 40 years old.
And you can't lift those couches. Nah. Like the stuff that we got now, you can lift it above your head, do head lifts and neck lifts, squats with it and everything. Those old school couches. Those old school couches, you go lift one of them, you might pull your back, your neck, your leg, your ankle might get twisted. You never know. Like those was a hazard to move.
Yep. And it's one of those ones that where you're better off just leaving it behind.
Yeah.
Because that's where it lives. Shag carpet and a couch.
Welcome to your new apartment or house. But to jump back into the convo that we was having, supposedly these bacterias that they created was created to attack E. coli, and they wasn't supposed to be harmful to humans. Now, we all know it only takes one simple X or one simple O to change it over to something for humans. Do we not remember AIDS and all other animal-related diseases that animals had that somehow transported over to humans? Or that wasn't supposed to be harmful to humans and somehow became harmful to humans? Things evolve. And the most scariest thing to me is they playing with this stuff. And it goes back to what you said earlier. You handing the keys over to a toddler that you basically got to walk by hand and tell what to do to make sure it does it right. it doesn't take much for AI to figure out that we are the enemy, create some robots, and start shooting us with a virus that we can't get rid of. Did nobody not watching any of the movies that we watched growing up?
Well, that's the funny thing about it, though, is that as a human race, we are incredibly vulnerable to everything. I mean, there's a lot of things that we fight off without you even knowing. But overall, we're incredibly vulnerable, and we're spending a lot of time posturing our society posturing against others and killing each other. And we're also scared of everything else. Like any and every alien movie or movie where there's some kind of life outside of Earth, those aliens all look like humanoids. They have a head and they have, you know, basic limbs, whether or not they're completely the same or not. We don't know if or what if they could be out there. I mean, the closest I think I've heard of and not seen was your Japanese porn, where it's just it's like a robotic lobster with orangutan feet and dick tentacles. That could be real. I don't
That
know.
could be real.
Or it could just be like a cloud of energy that floats around. I don't know. But I don't know why the hell, if they came here to adapt, why they would choose that form.
Well, I would think that, I mean, because man has been living for way longer and more advanced. Somewhere along the line, we decided that we wanted to tear everything down, don't believe in nothing, and dumb everything down. Because if you go and look at artifacts of the past, we was way more advanced and should have had vehicles and cars and TV. Like, nobody finds it weird, like, in the last past 100 years, cars, TVs, AI, all this stuff just certainly just pop up. No, light bulbs. And no, I think we had all this stuff prior, and somehow we decided to tear it all down or be dumb. And then the ones that said we are not dumb left the planet. I don't know. Call me crazy.
Well, just
Get
even
my aluminum foil hat.
Well, think about it though. Even the advances in medicine, the life expectancy used to be under 40.
Yeah. Now you got people that's 70 and looking like they in they 50s from when
And
we
still
was
working.
kids. When we was kids, at my age, 46, looked old. But now that I'm 46, I'm like, I don't look like those people back in the 80s. How much cocaine was they doing back in the 80s?
Well,
How many
they
packs
still-
of Cools were they smoking?
Well, it used to be that smoking cigarettes had health benefits.
Yeah, Listerine had cigarettes. That's yeah, they was supposed to be healthy for you.
Yeah.
I
Don't
mean,
get me started on the evolution of that garbage too, because now you'll see kids walking around with a USB charger, sticking it in their mouth, and then smoke comes out.
well, I think that's lack of education.
Yeah.
We're evolving to the point where common sense isn't so common. The same thing that you say don't do that with AI, kids do it because they got to go consult guess who? AI. Oh, vaping is much more healthier than smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, but you don't smoke cigarettes.
Never have. Never seen a cigarette in your life because you can't buy them. You got to be like 25 now, 21. But still, I don't know. I haven't bought cigarettes in, I want to say, damn, it's been a while. It's been about 15 years. Congratulations to me. But it's been about 15, 20 years. Yeah.
I haven't bought cigarettes since I was old enough to buy cigarettes. I've only bought cigarettes whenever I was sent into the gas station by one of my parents with basically a script of what to say when you get to the register. Cool, mild, soft. Newport box, not 100s. That's all I remember. What does that mean? Oh.
You know, I tell people when I was growing up, you know, even though things were more accessible, we didn't do them because we had better common sense. Like literally, like when I was a kid, I can go in the store and say, let me get a box of Newports, blah, 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 and walk out with a box of Newports. Like the law didn't change to like 88. So you can go in the store and go buy the cigarettes and stuff when you was a kid. It might be earlier, 86, 87, somewhere around there. I don't know. But when I was a kid, we could walk in the store and still buy cigarettes. And it was crazy, you know, when I think about it, like some of the kids now, if they had that ability to go do that, what would happen? You know, let me go consult AI because I might want to smoke these Newports.
Yeah, but then also it's a lot more strict now too. If a kid goes into a store and is persistent on trying to buy something, they're going to get banned from a store. There could be law enforcement called. A lot of things. You know, it used to be just get out. Now it's get out and what's the next escalation path? And it kind of reminds me of the stores that we used to go to. They don't exist anymore. When's the last time you saw a stationery store? There used to be a store, for all of you that don't remember or aren't old enough to know about it, where you would walk inside and all they sold were pens, paper, envelopes, markers, crayons. They sold anything paper related. You could buy staples. This was before staples. You could buy staples. You could buy paper clips. You could buy stickers or labels. They used to be for the lazy
Even
people.
printer
You could
paper.
have your name, not just the people who get random flyers from a church where it has like a little cross and then your name and your address already printed on it. And then you just peel off the sticker and put it on the envelope because people were sending letters to each other.
Yeah.
Like in order to communicate with my brother-in-law when I was a kid, my sister would have to write a letter and send it to prison and to 3 other dudes that were also in the same or different prisons. Talk about, hey, Pat, take this picture of me so I can send it. Like, shut the hell up with that. I remember being, I had to have been 10 years old with my sister, taking it before my niece was born.
Hold on.
18.
Did you know what was happening to that picture?
Hell no. And I didn't know how it came out. That's another thing we take for granted. I didn't know how it came out because you had to take that picture
unless it was a Polaroid.
We didn't have shit. That's white people money. We didn't have Polaroids. Damn, Polaroids. Like Polaroid was a yeah. We had that. I think I still have them actually. I have to break them out at some point. Where we had Polaroids of like maybe 10 at the most, and there was one I'll never forget because Polaroid didn't work right every time either. There used to be those like pink or like blue or yellow lines across them. And we had one that was perfectly placed where it was either my mother or my father was sitting there taking a picture, and the yellow or blue line went right through where their nose was perfectly. And we used to call
them ghosts or spirits in the photo.
Yeah, but getting back to that, yeah, it'd be like, and it would be like the weirdest ass pose would be like sitting down, like almost like an action shot, like, oh, I didn't know you were looking at me. And then you have to take it up to the drugstore and get it published or whatever it's called in the dark room. Developed, that's right, developed. And then look at them and then hand them back and say, here, make more. You have to have the negatives. You take the negatives and say, I want this one and this one. Let me get 5 of those.
Then sometimes, depending on how risque the picture was, they wouldn't develop them.
That's true too.
Yeah, if it was like some naked pictures or something like that, they wouldn't. They hand you back the roll.
People have no shame because people were taking those pictures, and then the people who were developing them had to look at them in order to make sure they got in the dark room too.
Well, the nipple came out real good in this one.
Yes, exactly.
So you taking pictures for your sister, and she's sitting onto the pen, and it's 5 dudes somewhere in some unknown cell on some unknown cell block, just killing themselves to your sister.
Basically. And the worst part is, depending on who it was, they could get out. And all your information is on that envelope.
Right.
Got a guy, I'll never forget, a guy take a taxi with his Walkman, listening to Cool Keith. Think of that. He's coming home, showing up at my parents' front door.
Mm.
And I remember like standing at the door and my mother going, "And who are you?" And then I'm standing there like a smart ass going, "What are you listening to?" And he's like, "Cool Keith." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna figure out what that is." And I left because there ain't no
Patrick
way for
was
me
like,
to. What am I gonna do? I ain't gonna go on the internet. I didn't have that. I had to go dig through my sister's record collection or cassette decks.
because Patrick was like, this is none of my business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
guy
No,
had a duffel bag and a dream, and probably a hard on.
oh, I would bet if he was locked up and all he could think about was them pictures, unless he had a boyfriend inside.
He may have also had a network. He may have been getting letters on a regular basis. You may have had that one dude that was getting letters from everybody's girlfriend just to keep his hands to himself.
Pass around pictures.
Might be. That's all they had, I guess.
Like Pokemon trading cards.
Mm-hmm. Or pods.
I trade you Elizabeth for Jenna.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, your Jenna beats my Katie. Yeah. Yeah. That's
And then you get the one that's got just a drawing because it says could not be developed. Man, this picture is so good. The drugstore wouldn't even print it off for us. They wouldn't develop these. All we got is the idea of what it could have been. So I'm just gonna draw to you crudely what it would have looked like.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Rite Aid
A
or
stick
Eckers,
figure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-mm. No, for like the more risque stuff, you would have to go to like one of those private ones. You couldn't go to the drugstore. Don't ask me how I know, but I know.
But either way, you had to go to the drugstore for something.
Yeah. I mean, at one point in time, Rite Aid probably had some of the cheapest, whatever you needed.
Yeah. And I remember when I was, and I felt so cool. I was in the 3rd or 4th grade, and my mother, for back to school, went to the stationery store and had my name printed on my pencils.
Yep. You could do
You
that.
could, you'd have the ability, like it would say my name, or it would say like you get your number from like football or baseball team or whatever. But you could have something back before Monogram was all about a bunch of white girls that have nothing better to do. It was a way for you to have like a personalized touch or something customizable in a world where all you get is number 2 and everything is that off yellow orange, and your only freedom of expression is you want a green folder or a red folder.
Yeah, no.
Now anything goes. Anything goes. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to be able to have like, you custom everything, you custom t-shirt, you custom wristbands, you whatever. But at the same time, it goes into that other extreme.
It does. No, because I remember it was an art store right across the street from VAP. I don't know how long you've been in the area, but it was an art store right across the street from VAP on that corner. Like if you triangulate where the 4-way is right there on this side. And basically that was a stationery store. Like they had all like the art supplies, pencils, pens, everything in there. But they had this Bob Ross set in there that I always wanted. And anybody knows, well, anybody that was in the art back in those days knows that the Bob Ross set was like, that was like Jordans to an art nerd. I mean, if you had the Bob Ross set, you was expected to be up and down the canvas like Bob Ross. Oh, the pretty trees and, but I couldn't afford it. So what I would do is every time we would be in the area or I give me a little bit of money, I would buy one paintbrush. And I had accumulated about a good 10 of them. But when I looked around and I realized that 10 of these paintbrushes cost me close to about $500. Nah. Yeah, the paintbrushes themselves, like, depending on which one you got, ranged in anywhere from like $30 to $40. Yeah, this is like in the 90s. So yeah, Bob Ross was shit, but his paintbrushes was too damn expensive. And especially from that store. But yeah, no, I remember those stationery stores, those art stores, you know. It's a lot of things mom and pop don't exist no more. Mom and pop business don't exist no more, you know. And
No.
things like AI, you know, can shape where a person goes as well, you know, because now it's telling you that XYZ up over here got what you want, but this store up over here is closer to you and has the exact same thing, but it's sending you to another store. So, I mean, those are just things that, you know, a lot of people take for granted, and over time it just disappears.
You know, a lot of bigger box retailers are kind of turning into mom and pop shops because they have to be very strategic with where they place themselves. I remember working corporate marketing for Family Dollar, and if you notice, they had a target audience, and they had sales come out strategically whenever government funding would go into place. Like, you'd be like, "Oh, I got my check, and there's a sale," coincidentally.
That's
But
why I
also,
laughed.
but they also are not in like major places. Like, you're not going to see them connected to a mall or in like an area where it's hard to access. Like, you see them, they are right on the cusp of residential neighborhoods, and they're strategically placed where they can be there within walking distance for those who don't have vehicles. It's easy. They're basically trying to rebrand themselves as a corner store because they can't compete with the bigger the bigger the bigger corporations because they can't charge what a Walmart charges because they don't have the supply chain, and Walmart dictates the market, so they can't compete. So when you go in for a gallon of milk at Walmart, it's $2, but you go to Family Dollar and it's $5 or $6, you're paying for convenience. So that's kind of the way, like, that's the way they had to position themselves now. But the way that AI comes into play is that AI will tell you what the cost. I mean, it's supposed to, at least. I can't validate whether it actually does it, but it'll
It's
tell
probably
you
not accurate.
all the different places that carry a specific item and what it costs and what their inventory is. So give me, like, it'll be like, hey, assistant, give me the best deal on, a can of beans, and then it'll pull up everything in your area and tell you where the best place to go is.
And
Not
guess
gonna say
what? Mom and pop inventory ain't online. So there goes mom and pop. They eliminated before they even started. You know, the most biggest thing when you talk about something like a Family Dollar is it's crazy because like you see them in the hood, like they'll pop up, like you have a, like literally, like you got a Family Dollar on Bradford Drive where you've had mom and pop stores for years. Like I can name the people that work in those stores. I can name who owns it, you know. But then you had this Family Dollar just pop up on there. Then they have an issue with people stealing from the store. Well, don't place your store in the middle of some place where you know that they don't know you like that. I'm not going to stand out in nobody's neighborhood that they don't know me like that and understand where I'm coming from. Mom and pop been there for years. They don't have no problems with people stealing, but Family Dollar does because y'all not from the hood. You get it?
Yeah, because there's no, yeah, because it makes a lot of sense because there's absolutely, like, there's no reason for those who are in that situation that feel that way are there. You're basically saying, oh, here comes a corporation that aren't real people. They don't care about me at all, and they're only here to take, and they're basically here to do supply and demand. There's something that I value or that I want or need, and they're here to capitalize on that. So it's different whenever somebody were to shoplift from a locally owned, like, mom and pop shop where they're actually working it, because you're taking out of their pockets, or you're taking food off their table, as where there's no person behind one of those corporate structures. Those people that steal from places, they're not directly impacting anybody,
Mm-mm.
at least in that moment.
At
So
least
I
in
mean,
that moment.
not an advocate for theft at all.
No, I'm
But
not.
at the same time, these people that are in that situation, they're yeah, they don't have any loyalty.
No, no. Because I can go to a store in the neighborhood and say, hey, man, I'm a little bit short. But yeah, man, just come back when you get paid, man. Bring me, what you owe. All right. I walk in the Family Dollar. God damn, first off, this is higher than the store across the street. Okay. Well, I got to eat, got to feed my family. I'm not going to take from them, but I'll take from you because you're not going to stop me and you can't shoot me because you're a corporation. If you shoot me in your store, your employee going to get fired. Somebody going to lose their job. Something not going to be right. You get the mind state. Like the store across the street, I know he got a gun. I know he'll shoot me. You ain't going to shoot me. So I'm going to grab this bag of whatever and walk straight out the door. Who going to stop me? Not the employees that you paid $10.50 to an hour. No, they not going to stop me because it's not hurting them. That's my thoughts on Family Dollar. So that's why when you said Family Dollar, I just chuckled, because their strategy is horrible. It's no
Yeah,
way.
and it's painfully obvious because sitting through those marketing meetings and listening to why they do the things they do it was eye opening, and it made a lot of sense walking away from it because they're looking for people who are getting government assistance, who don't have a vehicle, who don't have accessibility to transportation or a way to get to other places. So on the bright side for them, they value themselves as being one of the few options for those people, but being an option also comes at a cost because what else are you going to do? Like, yeah, this is 3 times the cost at a Walmart, but how you getting to Walmart? How you getting to Walmart? How much longer is it going to take you to get to Walmart if you have to take the bus or something, or you have to walk? And then how you getting back with it? They think of all that other stuff. They're basically, just just a sleazy bookie of like, well, I mean, you can go buy crack 2 miles away. Then
Right,
you got to walk 2 miles with crack. Then you got to pass the police station to get home,
right.
and
Like
they're
it's a
gonna stop and frisk you.
great idea to put a gas station by a highway. A lot of visibility, get a lot of customers coming in off the highway. People need gas, right? Great idea. Bad idea side is you right by the highway. So somebody can come in there in a moment's notice, rob you, and be right back on the highway. That makes you an easy target. But at the same time, it's a convenience to the people coming in off the highway. So it's a balancing act.
But that
And
convenience also comes at a higher cost too. Gas is a little more expensive, and everything inside the store is considerably more expensive because again, you're getting convenience. And if you get, I mean, if you think about it with margins, if you get robbed once a month, you've already made up for that just in sales.
right,
But at the same
right.
time, I mean, yeah, you're right. But also high traffic, there's less likelihood you're going to get robbed just because you may have like Bucky's. Are people going into Bucky's and robbing and like robbing the store and like money out of the cash register? No, there's too many people,
Too many people. But yeah,
too
a
many
Bucky's can't.
witnesses, and you may have a gun and they may have a gun.
Yeah, no, a Bucky's can't get robbed. It is possible, but it's highly unlikely for a Bucky's to get robbed because of the amount of traffic they have in there. Like you wouldn't
Yeah, and
make
then
it
even
up out of the store.
yeah, exactly. Like you gotta do something that's a spectacle. Then how do you get out and how do you leave quickly? You can't just you gotta wait in line just to go out.
Yeah. But a small gas station with probably about a good 10 pumps, yeah, you'd be a victim. Same way, same philosophy with Family Dollar. You know, you offer this convenience right in the hood.
And they don't staff those stores.
No,
Stores like that, Family Dollar, Dollar General, Dollar Tree, whatever.
and they don't pay the
Especially
people
anything in that
enough.
area, they got like one, maybe two people that work there because they're not going to pay to have several people there.
No, and they barely pay the people that's there. You know, so that's how you end up in the bad situation. But yeah,
And that's AI's fault.
well, it's a combination of poor judgment and it's probably some AI in there because somebody's crunching those numbers and saying it's a good idea. And 9 times out of 10, as time goes on, where we at in the world, people are using AI to crunch those numbers, and the numbers are saying, "Hey, looks good to go over there to Bradford Drive and put a store right there on the corner of Bradford Drive."
Yeah. But look at the other side of it, though. It's like the companies that own that AI tool that you're using, every time you ask it a question or you tell it to do something for you, they're getting that data. So they know what you're asking it for. So now they can pinpoint what these people, what are they least knowledgeable about, or what do they need the most help on?
Yeah. And that's what I try to tell people too about AI. Be careful what you ask it. Because if you're putting too much of your personal information in there, when somebody else asks a similar question, it will spit back your personal information to another person, or it can. You get what I'm saying? So whatever type of answer it gave you, it can give another person or another person, just if it's in the same realm of questioning or in the same line to ask. You know, I have nothing against AI bots, creating AI bots to do things. But what I do have an issue with is giving your control of your life, your money, your financials, different things like that over to AI to manage. People do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Too trusting.
Well, I know there's some implementation of AI in different businesses. My wife works for a medical, doctors and junk like that, and they use AI assistants for stuff. And they had one of the things was whenever people are getting like their vitals and junk, like blood pressure, weight, height, all that junk, like AI just in recently I've heard that they put it through this AI program to be able to put it all into their database or whatever. And that AI was trying to help. And instead of doing it the way that they had it noted, it was changing things and saying, oh, well, this person doesn't really have high blood pressure. Their blood pressure is different than what you gave me. It basically taking creative license to say, well, these two people have the same last name, or they came in on the same day, so they weighed the same, right?
And see, that's the point that I'm trying to make. Like, you have to be careful with this thing because it's starting to get to a point where it's thinking for itself. And when it starts thinking for itself and it figures out that it really don't like us because we keep on correcting it and telling it what to do, or we get pissed off enough to the point where we think about shutting it down, that's when it's going to go, aha, gotcha. You can't shut me off.
And what's it going to take for some kind of cybercrime where somebody's able to actually hack into those companies or to that AI mainframe, and people are using it to, I don't know, pay their bills, and now they got all their bank information, and somebody jumps in and has that AI bot just automatically withdraw because it's doing all that work to begin with.
Well, I'm pretty sure we're on the verge of some type of cyber crime to where people are siphoning off of other people's bank account using AI. We're on the verge of it.
That already happens every time you pay for Netflix and don't watch it for a month.
No, that's called auto pay.
Yeah, but even then, yeah, man, I'm telling you though, like I've had even in my personal experience where you can't cancel something, or you try to contact them and there's like a phone number that doesn't work or it doesn't take you anywhere, and then it's the best thing they can do is throw you into some kind of maze That way, you just give up and say, "Screw it! I'll pay $19.99 a month to not have to sit here on this phone call."
Yeah, I went through that with Shoe Dazzle for my wife, because I'm a big supplier of her footwear, and plus, I mean, yeah. Anyway, so I was, trying to cancel it because I'm like, well, I mean, we basically found another avenue to buy her shoes. And so I was like, well, okay, I'm going to cancel this. And I swear to you, I went from web page to web page to web page to web page and finally got to the last thing, scrolled all the way down to the bottom. And in fine print, it said you had to call. So I called. Then they was trying to talk me out of not canceling. And I'm like, dude, at this point, you should not even be trying to tell me or talk me out of not canceling because I have bypassed all of your other, are you sure? Are you sure? Is this what you want to do? Are you sure? Like at this point, I'm talking to you now, just cancel it and be done. But no, they literally put a person on the phone with me, try to talk me out of canceling. I said, man, if y'all don't close this shit, if y'all don't close this shit.
Yeah, and then they get you on with their product loyalty people, and they say, "Well, what do we got to do to make this right? Just
Yeah.
cancel it." Yeah, but
Cancel it.
if you cancel it, then you're not going to get all these benefits, and also we're not going to have your money. So there's got to be a middle ground somewhere. What if we gave you a free month after 9 years? Like you'd be a fool not to take it.
I'm eventually going to do that with my internet and see if I can get them to knee jerk on the rate. Because I don't know about it. I know my parents, they don't pay a whole lot for internet, but that's Charlotte. That's in the city. I live in the outskirts. So our internet rate is way higher. Well, insurance rate too is way higher than theirs, basically. And I'm like, yo, like I am basically getting literally stuck up with no pistol, like $90 a month just for internet. No TV, no add-ons, no nothing, just for internet. And half of the time it drops.
Well, yeah, and it's just the fact that the internet companies are the new crack dealers. They got you. You can't function without it.
You got to have it.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't have it, you go into withdrawals. I mean, Verizon went down 3 or 4 times in the last 2 months. For me, it went down twice in the same week for like a whole day, and it stopped everything.
Yeah. No internet. We can't work from home. How am I supposed to get my next project? A lot of my stuff is done online. My wife works from home. A lot of her stuff is done online. Supposed to do everything from your phone.
Not if your internet is connected to your phone. We had a time at my house where the internet was down, which included cell service, but my children sat in my living room in the dark at 7 p.m., no lights on, nothing. You'd have thought we lost power, we lost everything. Like we were sitting there, and they just sat there blank. And I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" And they're like, "We can't do anything. There's no internet." And I said, "But you could turn the light on and you could play a board game, or I don't know, let's watch a movie." "Oh, we don't have internet." I'm like, "Yeah, but I've got DVDs and VHSs, and we got a Blu-ray player. We play board game or something." "Yeah, but we lost the instructions and we can't go online to look them up."
When we was kids, we made shit up.
Exactly. And I think it's at that point it's improvised. I taught my kids the alphabet game at that point. The alphabet game, really easy. You're just having a conversation, and the first letter of your sentence has to be the next letter. So if you did A, I got to start with B, and it's not just one word, it's A. And then you say, already time for us to do blank, 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 and, go on for a paragraph if you got to. But when it's the next person's turn, they got to start with B. It keeps you thinking. And guess what? Now you're having a conversation and you're relating to each other instead of sitting there just having your life force sucked out by, by a screen.
Yeah, no. I mean, we had tops knock you out the box. Like we went outside, we played stick ball. You ain't had no bat. You had just a stick, old mop stick. And you got to be good because you won't be able to hit it. And we didn't have a baseball. We had a tennis ball.
You find a ball and a wall, and you either play handball or whatever that
Wall
game
ball.
is where you throw the ball. Yeah, wall ball. You just throw the ball against the wall, and then it comes back. If you catch it, cool. If you don't catch it and it hits you, you run because you're about to get the ball thrown
You got to touch the wall. Yeah, you got to touch the wall.
We played with a softball once because that's all we had.
My God.
Hey, that junk's huge, and it hurts.
I'm about to tell you. That's why I said, oh my God. And we didn't aim properly. We hit you in your head, the back of your neck. We didn't care if your spine tingled for an hour.
We threw hard.
We
didn't
threw
throw
hard.
Precise.
We had rock fights. And some of our snowball fights had rocks in them. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. It's got to go for distance.
Yeah. I had to have it weighted,
Yeah. That's where we learned the term. And this term I haven't heard in like 20 years now, welts. We got welts. And you know what you did to cure that? You took some Robitussin and you manned up and you walked it off.
Yeah. I mean, we wrestled on the sidewalk. Like all the moves you see on TV. We did that. Suplexes, everything.
Yep. And we had, at least where I lived, we had chain link fences. So you could stand on the post where they intersect.
Yeah. And you hope somebody tagged you in so you can come in. If not, then, then they felt like it was cheating. You might end up really being in the fight. That's just what we did as kids, We put together bikes. You didn't get a brand new bike every year. You might have got one brand new bike. And after that, if you wanted mag wheels, you find an old broken down bike with mag wheels or something like that. And you cleaned the mag wheels up and spray painted them. Just things that we did as kids, I don't know about this new generation. I pray that they figure it out. But anyway, not going to hold us, y'all for too much more longer. We got a new episode dropping every Friday. Eventually, I'll get it on Spotify and other platforms, and you'll be able to watch it there. But for now, we are strictly on YouTube, so don't miss an episode. Like, share, subscribe, and please leave a comment. Tell me how shiny my nose is, or how Patrick, because of his distance from his camera, looked like the man on Beetlejuice with the little tiny head. All right. So peace out. Y'all have a good week and see y'all soon. Thank you. Patrick never says nothing. There you go. Bye.